Zinga.
You were live.
We are live. I don't think we are live on the Padded Room channel. Well, who cares? Who cares? Anyway, I do definitely not a horror movie, but it's a good show. It's got a young Jack Palance in it.
Hey, Connie.
Who I thought looked pretty good when he was, 30 probably in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that he's handsome in the classical sense because he's got a very distinct.
He's not a handsome man.
You don't think so?
No.
What about when he was older?
No.
Well, he obviously did something right. He had a very long and storied Hollywood career, right?
Well, I don't know who he was sleeping with, but
I'd like to sleep with them, whoever they were. I'll do it. I'll take a dick for a career.
Wow.
Hey, you're gonna make me a movie star? We can talk business.
Well,
Just got off work and there is apple tree on top of the garden. Yay, summer storms.
Ah.
Okay. Sounds interesting. Hi guys, glad to see you, Ryan, Stephanie, of course. All right, you guys ready to get down to business?
Yeah, let's do it.
Microphones on.
Yep.
check, yes.
Beers, check.
Yes.
I did a shot, so I'm ready to go. Ready to get down to business on Panic in the Streets.
Mm-hmm. The boss is drinking in the shop.
I am. I find you both to be much more tolerable when I've got a couple of shots in me. Otherwise, they start to get on my fucking nerves. This one especially, with his fucking positivity. Look at him smiling all the time.
Oh,
Fucking asshole.
yeah.
I love Buddy. I love him. He's good people. All right, you ready?
Ready.
You're in charge of the mouse.
All right. Yeah.
If you can find it in that sea of keys and bullshit. All right, ready? Ready.
Here we go.
We're having issues on here because it's not like moving. Did you notice that?
I get that sometimes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whiskey, rum, tequila, Stephanie, is what is my poison of choice.
Hey, what's up, Jesse?
Jesse, parole officer in the house. That's right, inmates. We are talking about Panic in the Streets from 1950. This one is directed by Elia Kazan. It got 4.6 stars on IMDb. Stars Richard Widmark, Paul Douglas, and Jack Palance.
I love Paul Douglas.
You like Paul Douglas?
I watch a lot of.
Who did he play in this one?
He was the head cop, head chief.
Oh, he was a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I like a tough 1950s cop. They refrained from using any ethnic slurs in this movie, which I think was good.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that there was a lot being thrown around about that time frame, especially by cops. I'm not going to go down that road again. We did that last week. Whoa. Almost had an industrial accident there for a second. So we're going to start off in 1950, New Orleans, Louisiana. And it's like a hot, muggy, funky, stinky, sweaty, like just the vibe you would do. Think about Angel Heart. We watched Angel Heart. Remember that? That vibe, right? Just that with everybody sweaty and just.
Did they even have air conditioning?
No, in 1950, no,
okay.
fuck no. All you got was like a rattly fan that made a lot of noise. You know what I mean? It just blew. All it did really was move hot air from one side of the room to the next, and then it'd come right back at you. It's fucking bullshit. Especially in a muggy Louisiana, New Orleans kind of a thing where it's just humid all the goddamn time. And there's mosquitoes everywhere. But we're gonna jump right to like the seedier part of New Orleans in 1950, which is like old architecture. We actually start off with a pretty cool shot going through downtown New Orleans, like Bourbon Square in 1950, with all the balconies and all that stuff. And we end up in a sleazy kind of a poker game going on in a like an upstairs speakeasy, not a speakeasy, but like an underground situation. And it's a poker game, and gambling's illegal in the state of Louisiana, especially in 1950s. And high stakes, and it's kind of run by like not necessarily a mob guy, but like a local hoodlum. That's right, hoodlum. Hoodlum.
I felt like I was in New York City, not even Louisiana.
Well, I mean, it could be just as easily in New York, but they meant later on. They actually mentioned that this does take place in New Orleans, but it's disgusting. It's stinky.
Mhm.
Everybody's like slick with sweat,
Mhm.
and there's a guy playing cards up there, and there's actually like 5 guys playing cards. One guy gets up and opens a window and like pats himself off with it because he's all sweaty and goes, "Oh God, it's so gross." And he goes and sits back down at the table and he's like, "Boys, I'm done. I can't play anymore." And one of the guys is like, "Dude, you got to keep playing. Come on, you can't just leave like this. You're $190 up." Which in 1950s money is probably
A lot.
at least a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
thousand, right,
Yeah.
today. So he's like, no, I don't feel too good. I don't feel too good at all. I got to get out of here. He's like, no, you sit your ass down. So the guy gets up and leaves. And this is where we meet like the head of this hoodlum crew, a guy by the name of Blackie, who, by the way, is not African American. Let's not get on that boat. But he's like, hey, Blackie doesn't want you to leave. Blackie says you got to keep playing. And he's like, oh, dude, I am not feeling good. I gotta go lay down somewhere. It's like, get your ass back here. So he just stumbles out of this little gambling den, out into the streets of New Orleans. He's like staggering around. This guy is not in good shape.
No.
All sweaty. Whatever. Everybody is sweaty in this movie. But he's like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, God, this is all fucked up. And Blackie sends his crew to go. He's like, I want that money. So the other 2 guys he's playing cards with, a guy by the name of Poldy and a guy by the name of Fitch, go chasing after this dude. They corner him like in the warehouse district, and they're like, okay, now this is a 1950s movie. Okay, if you're gonna sneak up on a guy, you act like nothing's going on, and then you get close to him.
Mhm.
These guys like surround him from like 30 feet out and start doing like a combat stance.
Mhm.
Prepare to be assaulted. Ooh, and they're doing like a weird Spider-Man walk towards him, like, hi. And this guy's fucked up, man. He's like, no, I'm gonna go back and walk this way. So he starts walking the other way. And the other dude pops out and he's like, ha!
Yeah.
Gonna get you! And the guy's like, no, I'm gonna go back the other way. He's surrounded. Eventually, Poldy, who's the smaller of the 2 guys, jumps on him, and he's about to be honest with you, the sick guy is about to kick Poldy's ass. He's like pulls a knife and he's like, I'm gonna fucking stab you. But then Blackie, who's a couple feet away, pulls out a gun and shoots the guy that won all the money.
Mhm.
They take all the money and they throw him in the river or the swamp or whatever it is, whatever they got down there in New Orleans. That's pretty cool. You got a dead guy right off the bat,
Yeah.
and that's pretty disgusting. And we got like a weird half-ass crime syndicate thing going on here in Louisiana. Calvin's in the house. What's up, Cal?
Hey, Calvin.
Hi, Calvin.
So they're like, the next day, some kids find the body. They call the cops. Cops come and get the body. They take him to the coroner. Coroner's like, it's a fucking dead body. I'm just gonna dig it. He's clearly died of these 2 gunshot wounds. Let me just dig the bullets out. We can close this up by lunchtime. He gets in there and starts fucking around with the bullet holes. And he's like, whoa, something ain't quite right with this dead guy I got here.
Mhm.
And all of his coroner buddies are like, hey, let's go to lunch. Coroner all of a sudden is like, you guys got to get the fuck out of here right now. Just go. Just get out of the room right now. You can't even be in here. Don't even look in here. No, what are you doing? We're going to go to lunch. I'm surprised that the coroner wasn't eating a sandwich while he was doing the body.
Right.
Because that's
They
the thing.
all do.
I know, but apparently that didn't start in the 1950s because this particular coroner actually takes his job seriously and gets to take a lunch break, whereas other coroners don't get to take a lunch break. Thus, they just eat sandwiches on the dead bodies, which is disgusting. I don't know. That's just how movies are made these days. Anyway, so
you got this? Hold
Yeah.
on for me.
I'm gonna go to tuna. I'm gonna put it on this dead guy. I'm gonna go put it to deal with this dead guy. Then I'll come back to my tuna, which I left with that dead guy.
Thank you for a sandwich bowl.
We gotta keep. I don't want nobody wants a warm tuna
Those
sandwich.
guys are probably the healthiest guys.
They are. 'Cause
Yeah.
They're exposed to everything. So
Mhm.
absolutely,
I'm still alive.
of course, they're like cockroaches. They're like sewer rats. Really, you know who never gets sick? Sewer rats, because they're just they just live in a sewer. But
Tested.
yeah, totally. They don't give a shit. So that's all well and good. Everybody's like, whoa, hey, that guy turned into a real dick. He's telling us all to get out of here. The coroner gets on the phone with a medical officer from the Board of Health. And he's like, hey, dude, we got some shit going on. Now we're going to cut to our medical officer, Captain Reed, who's actually a doctor and is having a hell of a time paying his bills. He's got a $42 grocery bill that he cannot pay. Now, I don't know what $42 equals in 1950 as opposed to today's money, but if you can't cough up $42 for your groceries and you're a doctor, something, I think you've got like a methamphetamine habit or something, right?
Something.
I don't know. Maybe you're spending a lot of time with the local prostitutes. I hope so, because that's like the most fun possibility. The most fun possibility, especially in New Orleans, right? What else are you gonna do in 1950? Go get your dick sucked, whatever you're doing. He's like having trouble paying the bills, but he gets called in on this case. So he shows up. He starts looking at the cultures of the, microscopes of the tissue from the dead guy, and he's like, "What the fuck is this shit? We got some kind of a weird situation here, dudes. It's highly contagious. We got to get everybody the fuck out of here. I got to inoculate everybody," which basically means giving them some kind of an injection. Oh, it's a good idea. So I'm either going to quarantine everybody here for 10 days, or I'm going to give you this injection, and that'll shape you right up. Either way, everybody, like all the press is onto this now, and there's like all these other medical officers running around. Everybody gets the injection. Thank Christ for that. And he's like, okay, all right, well, there you go. Everything's good. But we got to find out who this dead guy is.
Yeah.
Who the fuck shot him? Because obviously somebody came in contact with him. And what the fuck is going on here? Because whatever he had, it could spread very easily. And that's going to be a huge problem here in New Orleans. So he's like, he gets the mayor, he gets the police chief, he gets a bunch of cops on the case. He's like, hey, we got to find out who shot. First, we got to find out who this guy is. Then we got to find out who shot. So we start off trying to figure out who he is. No identification because the Blackie's thugs robbed this dude after he was dead.
It was Luigi.
Yeah.
I felt like it was.
Luigi.
Waluigi or Wario, I think probably would be a better assumption. There's some villainy afoot in 1950s New Orleans kids, so watch out for that. Regardless, they have no idea on this guy. They don't know who the fuck he is. They expect that before the disease can become fully transmissible, they have about 48 hours to find everybody that has been in contact with this dude, inoculate them. Otherwise, this shit is going to take off like wildfire, like COVID-19 pretty much.
Yeah.
So they've got a couple of trains of thought. Number one, it's 1950, and this guy has no ID. This is New Orleans, which is a big city. So they really have no way of knowing who he is, where he came from, or who shot him. And there's really no way to find out. So the first plan is to alert the press and get the public involved. And the Dr. Reed, is like, hey, you don't want to do that, kiddos, because if you do, the killer is going to hop on a train, fly out of town, and then he's got whatever this shit is. It's going to be all over the country in a week and a half, 10 days. Yeah. So don't do that. That's a bad idea. And they're like, well, we can't solve a crime in 48 hours with no leads, no clues. What the fuck are we supposed to do? He's like, all right, well, just give me your best men. And this is where we meet Sergeant Warren, who's a local sergeant for the New Orleans Police Department. And he's a bit of a hard ass, which I like. I like a hard ass detective because this guy isn't taking any guff from anybody. Like 1950 style, I'll punch you in the fucking face if you get in my way because I got a goddamn crime to solve, you piece of shit. That's how it is. That's how the cops were. So now he's like on the case. He's like, I'm gonna fucking find this guy and I'm gonna kick his ass. And we get like some banter between him and the captain because the captain's like, you're a Neanderthal and you should be in a cage. And the police detective is like, you're a bit of a pussy and I'm gonna do this my way, piece of shit. And that's pretty much how their relationship goes throughout the movie. But the first step is try to figure out who this guy is. So unfortunately they have to burn the body and all of his clothes. So even if there was a clue, it's gone. It's been incinerated because we can't have anybody that comes into contact with the body or his personal effects getting infected. So all that shit gets incinerated immediately. There goes all of our clues. So now they're like, oh fuck, how are we gonna figure this shit out? Let's just go to some of the seedier establishments in town and start asking questions. So they do that. They don't really get anywhere. They go down to the docks, which is where a lot of seedy business happens in New Orleans in 1950.
But they did have a picture.
They did have a picture. They got a picture of this. Well, it's a picture of his dead body.
Well, yeah.
But I mean,
Still a picture.
I don't know any dead guys anymore, so can't help you. Now, if you go down to the docks and you're dealing with the longshoremen of the 1950s, which is a very mafia-esque community. Union guys, they know how to keep their fucking mouths shut. They go down there and the captain is waving the pig. I'll pay $50 to anybody to give me information about this guy here. Nobody's saying a fucking word. Eventually, he's like, "All right, well, nobody here's going to help. So if anybody wants to come anonymously, I'm going to be at the diner here till 7." So he goes and he hangs out at the diner. Pretty soon, here comes this young lady, and she's like, "You the guy paying money for the information?" He's like, "Yeah, you know this dead guy?" And she's like, "I was sent here to get you, so come with me." So the captain, minus the sergeant, mind you, goes down. She takes him to like this boathouse situation, and we meet like this labor boss for the longshoremen. This guy's an alcoholic and a woman beater, and he looks exactly like you'd expect a 1950s longshoreman to look. Beanie hat, big broad shoulders.
That reminds me of the puppet master. What's his name?
Pinhead from the Puppet Master. Yeah, he's got the sweater and the pea coat on, and he's like, "God damn it!" And here's this poor wife. "God damn it, Joe! I told you not to drink. You don't fucking tell me what to do." And then here comes the captain. He's like, "Hey, listen, you fucker. You know this guy?" And he's like, "I don't know shit." And then the captain's like, "Look, fucko. This dude is horribly sick and horribly contagious. I don't give a shit what kind of weird, illicit, illegal activities you're doing. First I got to inoculate you because you probably got the crud, and then I need you to tell me where this dude came from and what the fuck is going on." And we get a little back and forth, a little tough guy push back and forth between these two. Eventually, our longshoreman guy gives in and lets him take the shot, and then he tells him where this dude came from. Now, in New Orleans, circa 1950, I don't know if this is factual or not, but there was a bit of a human cargo smuggling operation going on where, they would smuggle immigrants into the Gulf Coast via these fruit ships, get them ashore, and then for the right price, they could go and have fun in New Orleans. And then they might take them back, or they might just stay in New Orleans, whatever, it doesn't matter. But they get the name of the vessel that this guy came in on. It's called the Queen Liberty or something like that. So he's like, "All right, I'm going to go." So the captain's like, "I'm going to go out to the Queen Liberty and start asking questions." Takes the police sergeant with him this time. They take one of those weird hydroplanes out to the ship, which is docked way out off the New Orleans coast. Go on the ship and immediately get into a fist fight with the captain of that ship. Because the captain's like, "I'm not telling you shit. All I do is fucking bring fruit in, and I don't know anything about anything." But as this argument / fist fight is escalating, the captain's like, "Look, you asshole, you're sick. You don't know it yet, but you're carrying some bullshit, and chances are everybody on the ship is sick too. So if you don't give me some information and let me inoculate everybody on the ship, you all fuckers are going to be dead." And this going back and forth. And now they're like grabbing each other. And fucking, "I'm going to grab you." Peacoats and longshoremen beanie hats, all that shit's flying around. Now, I don't want to sound like a racist asshole, but this part kind of coincides with current events because it just so happens that everybody on the ship, except for that particular captain, is Chinese. And they're all carrying the fucking shit. So the Chinese people on the ship are listening to this exchange, and they're like, "What's he talking about? We're all sick. We're going to die. What the fuck is..." So finally, the captain's like, "Get you and your police sergeant off my ship." And the police sergeant's like, "Hey, man, we're in international waters. We can't just be coming on ships and laying the law down. We got to respect his authority." So they're walking back to their plane to get the fuck out of there. Now, all the Chinese people and like ship workers are all lined up, and they're like, "Excuse me, about that sickness, we're all going to die thing you were talking about. I'd like to talk to you about that because that sounds terrible and I don't want any part of it.
Right.
So he's like, oh, look at this, your whole fucking crew. Pretty soon the whole crew is kicking the shit out of the captain because they think that he got them sick, which he technically did. Mm-hmm. And now we have like a little mutiny on our hands and they all want to talk to the medical officer about getting inoculated and give him the information that they need. So they do just that. And we need like a translator because most of these dudes don't speak English. And we get a little actual information on our dead body and where he came from. Turns out he's Greek, and he's a Greek immigrant. He was smuggled into the country, of course. He came off the ship, and as part of this little human smuggling operation they got going on. Mm-hmm. And his first stop, he was talking about before he got off the ship, was to this Greek restaurant that he was very excited about going to. Need a zip tie for the microphone, Miss Monica. Well, see, the thing is, parole officer.
Why I got a zip tie?
Yeah, parole officer. We don't want to cover up this real estate right here. This right here is where we make our money. If you know what I'm saying. I'll zip tie. I'll put a mask on.
No, it's right here, but I can't seem to get it up.
That too. I gotta work on that camera angle, or get her a push-up bra. One or the other. I don't know. Anyway, so now we know what this guy's name is. His name is Kochak. And he was headed to this Greek restaurant where he was going to meet with one of his cousins and, like, go out for a night on the town there in New Orleans. Right. So now we have a starting point finally, which is this Greek restaurant. Now, about this time, we're going to cut back to Black Jack Palance. He's starting to get a little nervous because all of a sudden there's a lot of buzz about this dead body that he shot twice and put in the river there. Mm-hmm. So he's like, what the fuck is going on? Why is everybody asking questions about him? He's just an immigrant. I killed him and I took his $190 that he won off of me, by the way. And who gives a shit? It's a fucking immigrant. So he starts getting all these weird ideas. Now, he's got like two goons. I mentioned him earlier in the show here. A guy by the name of Fitch, who's a big fat fuck and a bit of a imbecile and a bit of a pussy, and another guy named Poldy, who was actually Kochak's cousin, which makes his murder that much more lascivious considering he was basically killed by his cousin for $190.
Right.
For this Blackie guy who is, he's pretty scary, to be honest with you. He looked pretty. Jack Palance, a young Jack Palance, wearing a, all right, Connor.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think that was necessary. Jeez.
Wow.
I know, right? I'm trying to, hey, all right. Unruly up in here. Connor just called me an asshole for no reason, I feel like. So
you're a man. There's a reason.
I am a man. It's true. I can't do anything about that, Connor. I'm sorry. So regardless, Blackie is now like, he's trying to figure out why everybody's so interested in this dead immigrant all of a sudden. So he starts doing the math in his head, and he's like, this motherfucker smuggled something into the country that's worth a lot of money. Now, I want to know about that because I want to get my hands on it and get my hands on that money. Mm-hmm. So first thing he does is shake down Fitch. Again, Fitch is a pussy. And Fitch, before we get off of Fitch had the most bizarre comb-over situation I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Okay, so follow me on this because this is a very complicated comb-over. So he's got the standard Costanza, which means no hair on top, but he's got the hair on the sides, right? But instead of doing like the grow this out and flip it over, he decided to grow like this, the crown out, comb it forward into like a frohawk and then down. Now, I should probably draw you some kind of a diagram to fully illustrate this, but because of the thinning of the hair, it basically made him look like he had tiger stripes on his head.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Which is wildly confusing, especially later on when we get into the chase scenes and the stripes are like, he's running and he's a big fat fuck, so he's running out of gas. And it's just like the hair is like, woo, all over the place. Hunter, what the hell, man? Jesus, she is on me. Thanks for backing me up, Monica. Connor just doesn't like men, except Buddy. She seems to be okay with you. It's me she has a problem. Worse than Trump. Wow.
No,
all right.
No, the hairstyle.
Oh, Yeah. This is not fooling anybody. Jennifer, this is a weird one.
Could you imagine the tan lines with her?
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird situation, man. I guess that was passable in the 50s
Maybe.
as being like, some kind of a fashionable thing, but
No.
really it just kind of gave him like a weird zigzag, like a zebra thing going on in his
I
head.
thought it was like the sweat made his
Well, that didn't help.
Yeah.
No, that didn't help either. Because we're in Louisiana and he's a big fat bastard. He's sweating all the fucking time, which just gives him like head streaks through the whole movie. Anyway, so moving on, Blackie's like, I want to know about this. So he remembers that Poldy was Kochak's cousin. So he's like, get me Poldy in here. I want to know what the fuck that guy was smuggling. I want a piece of that action.
Right.
So Poldy isn't showing up though. So he sends Fitch to go find him in a weird pussy kind of a way. Fitch is like, yeah, I'll find him, Blackie. I'll get him. Hey, don't worry about it. Just don't punch me in the face. So that's fine. Everything's going kind of good for Blackie because he's keeping his shit underground. He hasn't left town yet. Now we're going to cut back to our medical officer. He's been on like 36 hours going hard on this, trying to figure it out. He goes back home, has to burn all the clothes that he was wearing.
Yeah.
Listen to the wife.
Listen to the wife who's like, we still owe the grocery guy $42. And he's like, I'll get you the goddamn money. Leave me alone. And then the wife hits him with I don't know if she was pregnant or if she wanted to get pregnant.
No, she was telling him
We are pregnant. Okay,
Yes.
because it's a very weird conversation where she's like, I don't want our son to be an only child. And he's
And
like,
that's the lady that played the mom on Dallas.
oh, is it really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I never watched Dallas.
Me either.
That's a little
I
bit.
did.
Why are you an asshole, Darian? What the fuck, Connor? Jesus, she is in attack mode tonight. So you guys were well. Thank you very much, Jennifer. I'm glad you
Yes,
enjoy the show.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Connor. Anyway, so now we have like this extra layer of drama because he's really got to find this what the fuck is going on and get everybody inoculated. Otherwise, there's not really going to be any kind of a world for his apparently expected child to be born into. So that's all well and good. He's back on the case, and he gets a call from the mayor. The mayor's like, meet me in the park. I can't be talking to you in public because, there's too much press, and now this whole thing is really starting to build steam. So he goes to the park and meets the mayor. Now, the police sergeant had the local reporter arrested on some trumped-up charges because he was basically harassing them and trying to get the facts and starting to put things together and threatening to put the full story in the paper, which we don't want to do because it's going to cause panic and because, we don't want the killers leaving town. So remember that conversation we had earlier about the Psycho Bunny death cult? I think I just made up my mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, this decision suddenly got a lot easier. Anyway, so moving right along, now he's like, okay, I can't keep this reporter on trumped up charges. It's against the law. He's going to put the story out in the morning, which gives you guys about 4 hours to find the killer and get everybody inoculated and get this shit under control.
Right.
So he's like, oh, fuck, 4 hours. That ain't shit, man. We got to get moving. So he goes to the Greek restaurant and shakes down the owner. Now, the owner's wife is there, and she's visibly sick. She's like coughing and hacking, and the owner knows Kochak, and he's like, do I want to tell the cops about this guy? Obviously, they're asking for a reason. We don't need to get involved in this shit. His wife is like, dude, don't tell them anything. Get them the fuck out of here as fast as you can. And the owner's like, shit, but what if this is something bad? I don't want to get involved. We should just, no, get him out of here. So the owner comes back and he's like, I don't know anything about this. I'm sorry, guys. So they take off. Pretty soon they start doing more research on Kochak, realize that his cousin is actually Poldy. So they're like, let's go talk to Poldy. Poldy's living in like this weird, dilapidated flop house hotel situation.
Right.
So they're like, okay, let's go there. Let's fucking kick his door in. So they go there, they shake down the owner of the place. He's like, I only rent to upstanding members. No criminals here. They're like, bullshit, you fucker. We're pulling thugs out of here every day. So they go up to Poldy's room, which is disgusting, by the way.
Yeah.
Open the door. He's not in there. They're like, oh, shit, where is he? So they go down and talk to the owner again. The owner's like, he left. He said he was going to his mom's house because he wasn't feeling good. About this time, Blackie actually rounds up Poldy. Brings him into the restaurant or a restaurant. He's like, look, man, your fucking cousin was doing some smuggling or something. I want to know what it was, and I want in on it because I'm the local thug kingpin, and that's what I do, I guess. So Poldy's like, oh, God, I really don't feel too good right now. Can we just have this conversation later? He's like, no, Poldy gets up and runs right out of the restaurant. Fitch, being the big fat guy that he is, can't catch him. So he's like, he gets away. But they find out that he's going to his mom's house. So does the medical officer. Blackie gets to Poldy's mom's house first. And he's like, Poldy, I'm going to get you a doctor. I'm going to get you all fixed up. You're going to be great. Poldy's like, oh, no. A nurse comes in who was actually there to take care of Poldy. And she's like, hey, you guys got to get the fuck out of here. I don't know what this guy has, but it's not good. It's probably contagious. And just out, everybody out. And Blackie sent for his own doctor, who is probably indebted to Blackie for some reason. His doctor comes in and he's like, no. We're going to get this guy sorted out. Blackie's like, I need him talking and I need to know what he's got going on here. He's like, oh, Blackie, I'll take care of it. The nurse is like, dude, we got to get him to the fucking hospital right now. And the doctor's like, no. Sends the nurse away. The doctor's like, okay, so we actually should get him to the hospital right now because this is bad. He's probably going to die in the next 5 minutes. Blackie's like, we're not taking him to the fucking hospital. The doctor's like, okay, I tell you what. A buddy of mine owes me a favor. He's got an off-site facility. We'll take him there. We'll get him fixed up. We just got to get him into the back of my car.
Right.
So in a weird move, they decide to carry him down the stairs on the mattress.
That was weird.
It was a very strange method of carrying a sick guy.
They don't want to touch him.
Yeah, no, not at all. I wouldn't want to touch him either, man. He's all sweaty and shit.
Better in sheets.
But here's the real motherfucker. As they're going down the stairs, Reed and the police are coming up the stairs. So Blackie's like, oh, fuck. So they just take Poldy and flip him out of the mattress. And he goes right down the stairs all the way to the bottom.
Perfect.
Now, Poldy was going to die anyway. I think that's a given. But now he's definitely dead. And we know that because the lady at the bottom of the stairs is like, he just broke his fucking neck. So Poldy's now out of the equation. All right. So, but that's the bad news. The good news, though, is that the police sergeant IDs Blackie. And now we know that he's the killer. We all know he's the local thug. So they're like, all right, that's the fucking guy. He either knows something or he's the guy that pulled the trigger to begin with. So we're going to get right on his ass and we're going to bring him in. So now we get this medium speed foot chase where Blackie and Fitch are trying to elude the police. They duck out of there. They go to a coffee warehouse. And apparently Blackie used to work there before he turned to a life of crime. So they're dodging in and out of the pallets and all that stuff. Again, Fitch is a big fat guy. So he's just panting and weaving. And, I can't run anymore. I can't do it anymore. And Blackie's grabbing him. Come on, Fitch. We got to get out of here. They get up on the roof. They get surrounded by the cops. A little bit of a shootout there on the roof. Blackie kicks the skylight in, and they jump back into the coffee warehouse. Again, they're running through the coffee warehouse. Another shootout there in the warehouse where Blackie kills his own old boss, which I thought was kind of an ironic twist because, who doesn't want to kill their boss at one point or another? So there's that. And then Blackie comes around the corner, and there's a manhole cover, and he's like, oh, come on, we're going to get in here. So now Fitch is practically dead at this point. I think he ran maybe 1.5 miles total, so he is done. Blackie is pretty much carrying him. The manhole cover doesn't go into the sewer, though. It goes underneath the warehouse, which is on a dock, so it takes you down into, underneath to the pier area type of a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So down you go. The cops follow him right down in there. And again, with the chase and the shootout, Blackie kind of leaves Fitch like as a weird trap, like on a little canoe, and then he hides up in the rafters just as the chief medical officer comes in, and he's like, "There he is! Hey, where's Blackie? Where's Blackie?" And then Blackie reaches down and bonks him right on the head with a gun, and then that's where he goes, "Fuck you! Ow! Shit!"
Right?
And then he falls over. Unfortunately for Blackie, though, the rest of the police crew is right behind the captain. So again, with the shootout, Blackie manages to make his way out of the coffee warehouse, and onto the pier, where he tries to do like a Tough Mudder move and like shimmy his way up a boat line onto another boat where he thinks he's going to make his getaway. But at this point, Blackie is just about done. And he gets about halfway up there, and then he just kind of runs out of gas, collapses into the water, and then they arrest him on the spot. And that's pretty much the end of your movie. What did you guys think of Panic in the Streets?
Not that good.
Good God.
It was all right. It was for a 1950s movie. I thought it was fine.
I couldn't even stay awake to watch this movie all the way.
I mean, for a movie made in 1950s, you'd think it would be a lot shorter. Well, it wasn't.
No.
And it was a full hour and a half, and a lot of it is family drama between the chief medical officer and his wife. Dude, we get like
there was too much talking.
There was a lot of talking. We get like a 25-minute speech from the wife about, he works himself too hard and he doesn't make enough money. And he's clearly trying to go to sleep while she's giving him this rundown. So
that would have put me to sleep.
I mean, but he's like laying there and he's like, "Well, how do you like that?" "Well, that is something." "Well, all right then." And she's just going on and on about how she doesn't want her son to be an only child and all this shit. And I don't think it even occurred to him that she was pregnant. I don't think it didn't even occur to me that she was pregnant, because this fucking speech was so long-winded.
Because when she told him, he got all excited. Like, he smiled and he was like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, but he was half asleep.
But he didn't want her near him.
Yeah, of course. She had to go in the other room and have.
Then he'd actually hear her.
Well, I mean, he had to go in the other room and have the conversation through a screen door, because he didn't want to contaminate it.
Yeah, and the other thing was that we didn't mention is they had the plague.
It was the
plague.
pneumonic plague, was the mystery disease that they were talking about. So apparently,
that squirrels in New Mexico still carry.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic. But I think we have a vaccine for it now, don't we?
Do we?
I don't know.
I don't know about vaccine.
I don't know anything about anything.
But I know they carry.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it's not really a horror movie, but it is pertinent to today's
Ryan, you
situation.
thought it was good?
Ryan, it wasn't that bad, right? Ryan knows what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not the best thing I've ever seen, but for 1950, I thought it was all right. It kept my interest. It kept me interested. I was more invested in Blackie and his little band of knucklehead thugs. Yeah, overweight.
Yeah, I had to look for stuff to snack on just to stay awake.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
Watching it slap in your face.
Yeah.
It was not that bad. God, you guys are animals. It's fine. And if you want something that's pertinent to today's situation, I think it would be a good watch for you. Bear in mind, it is the 1950s. Views and attitudes have changed a lot since then.
Connor says the 50s sound like it sucked. Actually, if you start watching The Outer Limits, the 50s were deceiving. People were so evil, and just betrayal, murder. You should check it out.
That sounds like a lot more fun. I like that idea. It was good to a certain extent of being made in the 50s. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Ryan. That's exactly what I'm saying. You take it with a grain of salt, because it is black and white. It is in the 1950s. Action sequences obviously weren't what they were back then, because you got a couple of watching Jack Palance run through the warehouse. He had a weird kind of a saunter to him. Are you trying to get away, or what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing.
Scoliosis.
I would rather watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show than Panic in the Streets.
Yeah,
I would agree with that, Connor. That might be the first thing you've said tonight that I would agree with. But,
Connor, I just can't agree with that.
You haven't seen it.
You would rather watch.
I would rather watch.
You haven't even seen Rocky Horror Show.
I don't want to. Sorry, guys.
She doesn't like musicals. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Bullshit. I love the zombie apocalypse movie.
Oh God, Anna and the Apocalypse.
Yes!
Oh, we're back on that again.
I listen to that one all the time.
How dare you? How dare you?
Get out.
It's not even good. It's not even good music. Oh, get the hell out of here right now. It would be better if it was made in the present. Yeah, probably. This one would probably do with a remake, especially today.
Remake? Yes.
A little more action in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little less
it
family
almost
drama.
sounds
With the
like
rock in it.
the, Outbreak, the beginning part. To
Yeah.
me sounds like
Yeah, when they're trying to track down the contact traces
Yes.
and find out who this dude is and where he came from.
Uh-huh.
More of a crime procedural drama, I'd say. Right on, inmates. I think we are going to take us a little break and come back with some other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bye-bye.
I didn't even look at what movie we're doing next week. It's another public domain movie. I know that. I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, we
Anytime.
have a list.
Love it too.
No, we have it. It's just I haven't looked at it today. It was something else. All right.
The Return of the Living Dead. Yes, Ryan. That was an awesome movie.
That one was
That's
badass.
my favorite zombie movie with the punk rockers.
Yeah, you would. I don't know if it. No, it's not my favorite, but it would be in my top 5
Oh,
easily. Yeah, right on, Ryan.
what is your favorite zombie movie?
Night of the Living Dead, the original.
That's right.
That's my favorite movie of all time. Barbara.
Have you seen the remake with
The Tom Savini directed with Tony Todd. Is that what you're talking about?
No, there's another one.
The one with Sid Haig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jesse. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you for tuning in, by the way. Right on.
Thanks for all the positive vibes.
Yeah, thanks for some positivity, Jesse. Just watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show again. LOL. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and kill the live feed. Join us next week for something else from archive.org, courtesy of Kevin in Japan. He's the one that paid for this month. So this month is on Kevin. He picked these movies, not us. And that's how it goes down. We'll announce I fucking forgot what the next movie was, but we'll announce it later in the show for sure. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.